The Australian Ghost Whisperer with Katerina Legato and James Jennings. Hello everybody!
Hi everyone, welcome back.
Welcome. Today's topic is about New Age and why a lot of New Age stuff is actually nonsense. So Katerina and I have had conversations about this in private. Those private conversations are about to get really public. And
Sorry, we don't mean to offend.
No, we don't mean to offend anyone, but look, I guess it is very much based on Katerina's background and what she's done and the stuff that, you think is not really quite hitting it. Like it's a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of spiritual stuff can be a bit performative, or it can be, it's surface level. It's not actually doing it in a meaningful way. So that's what the topic is today. It's not about attacking people, but it's maybe about people questioning their connection to spirituality and if it could be done in a more meaningful way, if it can be done in a way that is actually going to affect proper change, or if it's maybe done in a way that's not really all that effective and a bit surface. So that's... Oh, bless you, Katerina.
Had to sneeze. I'm allergic to New Age. By the way, that's why I had to sneeze. But go on, finish.
No, that's it. That's all I got to say. Is like, it's not meant to offend. It's more about questioning, and we all need to question ourselves and why we do certain things, and if it's being effective or not. We all love to tell ourselves little half truths or lies to get us through things sometimes, and not actually look at the truth. So it's not about us, creating targets. But having said that, there is a lot of New Age stuff that Kat thinks is nonsense. So we're going to talk about that today. So Katerina, over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so please, I do not want to offend anybody, but I feel like sometimes it's time to wake up, okay? Now, I have written 2 books that a lot of you are aware of, and on both of my books, I say I am not a New Age. I've never was into the New Age. My issue with New Age is a few things. Firstly, it's a lot about, everything's love and light and don't worry, everything's going to be okay. So to me, that is a state of denial, and it allows people to just cop out and not take action in their lives or take action to make changes on our planet. I feel like a lot of New Age people I've met are all about themselves and don't break my bubble, the bubble of light's all around me and I'm so protected and and you can't judge me, and it's just all a lot of nonsense. To me, this whole New Age is just as bad as religion as far as keeping people in a state of complete denial. So again, it's like I have gone to thousands of houses in my 30 years of being, doing house clearings. And the first thing people say to me is, I tried to smudge my home with sage and spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them that are in your home, or dark entities are not going to be at all worried that you're burning a bit of sage in a home. It's not going to be able to clear them.
They don't care about sage?
No, not at all.
What does sage do? Anything other than just...
Look, I think it's mind over matter.
Okay.
But it's not going to be able to cross over any soul. So that's... And so again, that whole sage was a big part of a big ritual, and it was very big with the American Indians. But it was part of... a whole huge ritual. And the American Indians, they knew how to work with energy and transform it and change it. And that's what I do when I do a house clearing. I mean, gosh, I wish it had been that easy that I could have just taken sage sticks, I can't even say it, with me, and that was that done. Like, gosh, would have made my life so easy.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to have the skill of being able to, obviously bring in the right kind of energy that is very high frequency and enable then to draw in those dark entities or crossover lost souls. So this is another thing. There's a lot of gimmicks in New Age, like sage sticks and burning incense, or just having, a little Buddha statue in your home, and that's you done. You're spiritual. it doesn't work that way. You've got to do the work on yourself. You need to develop your skills. You need to be able to work through your issues and be able to communicate with the God self. And so I find with New Ages, like I just find some of them are more irritating than others, because it's like, oh, you shouldn't be judging. You shouldn't, whatever you look at, you get more of. No, but that allows us to then not look at what's really going on in your own life, what's going on the planet. It's not about judging, it's about being awake and seeing what it is that you can change, what it is that you can, put some love and light and healing into. We need to look at the dark areas of the darkness that's on our planet. We need to look at the dark areas of ourselves. We need to become awakened, enlightened, learn to communicate with our higher selves. Whereas the New Ages is just like, everything's love and light, everything's gonna be okay. And it just keeps people in a state of denial. That's how I see New Age. And so many gimmicks attached to it, like the incense is one, the sage is another. Rather than do the work, why are you attracting, dark energies to you? Look into that more than just burning incense and trying to clear yourself that way. So that's my sort of issue with a lot of the New Ages. It's just to me, it's just all about denying truth and looking at things through the eyes of truth. And I feel that, again, this is why we need to be able to step out of all these programs. To me, New Age is just another program like religion that keeps you in a state of denial, in a state of never really clearly looking at our world and what is happening on our world, what is happening with each other.
And opening your eyes sometimes means that you're looking at ugly things, like being spiritual isn't, you open your eyes and you just see rainbows and butterflies and, life's going to be this beautiful deluge of unicorns and light.
No one lives that way. It's not reality.
No, it's not. It's not. And it's just a fact of life, is that when you do open your eyes in a truthful way, you see some terrible things. You might see some ugly things. You might see some ugly and terrible things about yourself, or people around you, or the planet. There are things that you just, even if they are ugly or things you don't want to face, you have to face them. We don't move on in a spiritual sense unless we look at these, and Kat's talked about this before, unless we face these dark elements around us in ourselves. There's no chance to heal them. There's no chance to actually move on in a meaningful way. So when you're kind of like, everything's going to be great, then it's not. That's a way of you're putting your power into the hands of nothing. It's just you're
nothingness. That's exactly right.
Yeah. So you're not actually taking the power to make the changes yourself. You're just going, oh, it's all going to be fine. Really, who's going to make it fine?
Yeah.
If you're not doing anything, then you're not doing anything. So
yeah, that's right. And it is hard to see the pain and suffering on this planet, but it's also enlightening when you know that you can do something to help change or transform that pain and suffering. Rather than just being in a little bubble of light and not worrying about anything and anyone else. And as we've said on many episodes, this is a time for all of us to become enlightened, powerful beings and really connect with that aspect of ourselves, which is something that has been really, taken from us through all the different programs and distractions. But when we can begin to really connect with our higher selves, connect with our souls, we know then that we are powerful beings, that we can heal and transform and make the changes required on this planet. Be a voice, even if you're not doing it energetically. Be a voice for it. Go online, go on your Facebook, start a YouTube channel and talk about what's wrong with the planet and what needs healing, rather than the New Age saying, oh, just don't give it any attention and it won't grow. Well, that's a lot of shit that's just out the window there, because crap's really growing on this planet. So the thing is that by sharing the awareness, by being a voice and speaking up for the things that we all need to become aware of and change, means that we're taking back control of not only our lives, but the direction of humanity and the direction of our planet and where it's heading. And by sharing energetically, by knowing how to create the love and healing required, knowing how to open up vortexes of energy, of healing light over the planet, knowing how to anchor love where there's so much darkness, knowing how to really spark up a dark area or a dark a thing that's going on, experience like war, Third World War is looming in our lives right now. You know, we need to all be charging all of these governments with light. But if we just sort of stand in the new age, it's like, oh, you know, love and light, it's all going to be okay and we'll be fine. Well, no, then we're not doing anything about it. And this is why we're in this mess. So, you know, again, I don't want to put anybody down, but this is about heightening our awareness, waking up and owning our powers. And I don't see how New Age does that at all. I just don't. Even when what was that silly thing that came out years ago, James, about, you know, you imagine yourself driving a Ferrari and...
was it The Secret?
Yes, okay. Yeah. And like, I remember people were coming to me, clients go, oh, I've been doing that, imagining myself that I'm driving a Ferrari or Mercedes, whatever, and it's not happening. Because it doesn't work that way. I mean, if you do remember The Secret, and I don't know how many of you did it, I'd like to know if any of you got anything out of that. Please let me know if you actually manifested a Mercedes or Ferrari, you know. But in order to manifest and create things in our lives, we have to come from a place of love. And when we come from a place of love and we're being of service to each other and humanity, then the universe automatically brings you what you need. The universe automatically aligns with you to bring you the greatest joy and what it is, your greatest fulfillment for yourself. But when all you're focusing on is the material, then obviously it just doesn't happen that way. You have to be in alignment firstly with God, with Source Creator, for those things for the good things to come into your life, for you to be able to draw wonderful things in your life. And, you know, so this is where I feel that whole... I think New Age has all been about, you know, another gimmick, making money, selling a whole bunch of books, but not really enlightening and illuminating people enough to take charge, to really delve into things, to really look into things more clearly with awakened eyes, an awakened heart, an awakened soul. And I just don't feel it does that at all. And also another thing I feel New Age does, it confuses people. So they're kind of like I said again, you know, they've got a Buddha statue, then they've got an angel statue, then they've got this statue and that. And it's like I go into their homes and it's, who are you in alignment with? You know, you've got all these different energies going on. You've got Buddha here, you've got Jesus there, you've got an angel there, you've got an alien over here. So, no, but it's true. So of course this causes conflicting energy around you and in your environment. I always like to guide people to, first of all, become connected to your own inner divinity, the God spark within you, and then grow from there. But you can't grow in all these different directions because, again, and I hear a lot of channelings from New Ages, a lot of channeling misinformation of telling you, oh, it's all going to be okay and you're a super being, or rely on my message to tell you what to do. Or, I mean, you know, they're channeling this kind of, oh, you know, there's all this crap about, you know, my guides telling you all that it's all going to be okay and that next month there's a particular alignment with the stars and it's all... No, it just doesn't happen. We have to master our destinies. We have to learn to master our energies and our destiny. And that's done through powering up and looking into the darkness, because when you look into the darkness, then you will find the light. You can't just be looking in the light and avoid the darkness, because you'll never get there. I was taught, when my guides taught me to do this work, they made me look into the darkness, because then they knew I'd never be afraid of it. And that's why I've been able to go into the most haunted environments and not feel afraid. Yes, I'm human, and I've not sometimes enjoyed going into those dark environments, but I knew I was there for a purpose, to help the people and to help, obviously, the souls that were trapped in those terrible environments. But if I had not been shown by my own guides to look into the darkness, then I would never have stepped into my real power and really vibed my gifts and been able to help people the way I've helped people. So it's very important to look into the darkness, whether it's the darkness that's within you, the darkness that's around you, the darkness in your family members. And yes, not look at them through the eyes of compassion. I'm not saying we've got to look at them and go, oh, that's a horrible person. And acknowledge the darkness, but see what you can do to enlighten them. For me, people that are sitting in darkness are just in pain. There's something within them that they're not loving about themselves. There's some pain they've not resolved. Perhaps you can help them to explore that. But when you're in a state of a bubble of light and nothing else counts, then I don't think that you're going to make much difference in the world. And just filling your home with a whole lot of little statues and things, that's not going to bring in the spiritual energy you required in able to do the work and in able to be able to make the changes, firstly within yourself and then within your family, and so forth and so forth.
I actually thought of a really good example of between the difference between sort of like New Age fluff and genuine spirituality. And this goes back to when I lived in a very haunted house several years ago, and I was sort of getting like woken up, shaken awake each night in my bed by an entity, and I'd see flashes of light in the bedroom, and other various things that were quite scary. So there was like a new agey spiritual shop not far from where I lived, and I went in and I told them and I said, this is what is going on, and they were like, oh, we've got just the person for this. I'll send, let's call her Mary. I'll send Mary around.
Yeah, and she came with a sage stick and a few crystals.
Oh, no, probably worse than that. So she turned up with a spray bottle, and look, she was not saying she wasn't a nice person. She was a nice person, like elderly lady, was quite lovely, but she just kind of like went around the place, squirted a spray, and then was like, okay, all done, all clear, I'll take $80 now, or whatever it was. And of course I was hopeful, and I was like, oh, it's not.
And people are desperate, they are hopeful.
Yeah, and guess what? That night, nothing had changed. The spirit was still there. In fact, I think the spirit was maybe a little bit more forceful.
They were probably laughing.
Yeah, I think it was pissed off. It was just like, what are you trying to do? So that was a complete fail. But she was convinced that she could just come in, and she was happy.
But she was incredibly deluded that she shouldn't have even been stepping into an environment like that and stirring up an environment without knowing how to take full charge and control of an environment like that.
Yeah.
This is the thing. She was putting your life, your family in danger of things becoming more volatile than what they already were.
Yes.
And upsetting these spirits.
Yep. Absolutely. And she was happy to take money for it.
But that's, this is what, a lot of these new agers do. I mean, I do take a spray bottle that I spray, but it's a very energized special spray. But firstly, I bring in the right required energy to help the souls cross over.
So that was a real fail. But then again, using comparison, Katerina was the person who came next, and it was a 100% opposite situation where Katerina came in. She didn't bullshit. She was just like, yep, there's a lot of dark entities here. I can feel them. They don't like that I'm here. And she was just very matter of fact about it. And she came in and she used the tools that she needed to, and she spent a lot of time clearing that house, and the job got done. And those spirits were cleared, and the paranormal interference never happened again, right? So that's the difference between someone who's just like, I'm keeping it real, I'm connecting with my guides, and I'm actually doing the work, compared to someone who's convinced themselves they can do a job that they're absolutely not qualified to do. So that's
this is a very unregulated industry. That's the problem with it. Anybody can set themselves up and say that they're a master guru at whatever it is they believe they are, and have no idea. I have seen endless people being very seriously hurt and misguided by ending up with one of these terrible people who've just set themselves up and are giving misinformation to people. Just like I've said to you, there's people doing all these channelings of apps. I listen to them and it's like, that's absolute crap. And, taking the power away from people rather than being truthful and saying, this is what's going on and this is what we need to do, which is something that you and I talk about regularly, that we do need to heal the planet. We could be sitting here and telling you everything's love and light and beautiful, and maybe we'd have thousands more subscribers on it. But I'm sorry, when I leave this world, I don't want to face the creator and say, I lied and did this and that just so that I could be more popular. And often these characters are very popular because people only ever want to hear that everything's going to be fine, that I'm special, and that I don't have to do anything except be in my little bubble of light. But that unfortunately works with, that's only if you're service to self. It's not changing anything. It's not helping. It's not healing.
Yeah. We're more interested in giving it to you straight. And
if it means we have less subscribers, and if it means you don't like what we're saying, then I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and say that everything's going to be love and light and perfect, because we have a long way to go, guys. But I do feel that change and the evolution of the soul now is upon us, and that we do have the power to change the course. And I think we got to move away from all this nonsense and have a really good look at around us, at our planet, at what's going on, and unite with each other and become a human family and help to heal and change things.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't want to die. We don't want to leave this planet on our knees. You want to leave this planet on your feet, in your warrior boots. You don't want to on your knees or in complete denial.
And we want to leave, a planet that is going to thrive and prosper when we're gone. At the moment, that's not going to happen.
It's not, and I feel like my mission here has definitely been about that. My clients will tell you, people, if you go to Katarina, you're going to hear the truth, and trust me, you do. I don't fairy floss things, and I've had people, honestly, I'll say it honestly, have not enjoyed hearing the truth from me, and that's it. I just say, I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to tell you a fairy tale. If you want a fairy tale, you go to those New Agers who are sitting in a little tent somewhere with their pack of tarot cards. And I'm not saying I don't like tarot cards. I believe it's the person using the tarot cards, because I do like them. And they will tell you a fairy tale. But it's not going to empower you. It's not going to enlighten you. It's not going to make you look at what it needs within you that you need to heal, or what it is within you that you can change, is it? It's just going to make you happy, and you're going to give that person their $50, whatever, and you're going to feel good. But then 2-3 months later, you're going to go, oh, nothing changed. That didn't happen, Well, that's why. So I'd rather be upfront and truthful. And I've had people walk out that were not happy to come back years later and say, that reading, I did not like it. I didn't understand it, but it all came to be. It all came to pass. So I think that we all need to step into that conscious awareness of truthfulness. That's where I see it, that we're going to be able to really heal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can back that up. I mean, I've had plenty of experiences with Katarina where she will tell you the truth. Like you don't get the.
Yeah.
But then that's the thing, right? What do you want? Do you want to hear what you want to hear, or do you want to hear the truth?
That's the thing. You either go to someone who's unconscious and it's just a bit of fun and you have your little reading, or you go to someone who's fully conscious and you're going to hear things that you don't want to maybe hear, but know that you can change them, empower, heal. I mean, I've gone through many processes in my own life, and I heard things about myself that I didn't want to, but that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because like I said from the beginning, when I was old enough and Spirit said, you need to look into that darkness, otherwise you will always be afraid of it. That was the best thing that happened to me. But it was the toughest lesson I ever went through. I saw the most horrific things, the most unimaginable darkness and creatures and demons and all reptilians, and I saw the most horrific things also of what humanity itself is capable of doing, unfortunately, from an energetic viewpoint. But it empowered me and to stop being afraid and to face things and look at things truthfully. And my God, I'm not saying I'm a perfect person. I have my faults and flaws, absolutely. But I try my best to look at things truthfully.
Yeah. And that's important.
And I think that New Age is just about another facade of something else to hide behind, to not look at things truthfully. I can just sit at home, burn a bit of incense and everything's going to be okay. I can just imagine myself, driving the latest Ferrari, and it's just going to step up. It's just going to drop out of the sky, and somehow it's just going to come into beingness.
Yeah.
That's a beauty, that one. Because people really believed it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And it's a distraction. That's the other wonderful thing I want to say. When you get involved with this, it's an actual distraction from really looking at, well, why, for example, am I in a state of poverty? Because if I'm sitting here wanting to conjure up a Ferrari, then I am in a state of poverty. There is stuff within me that I need to resolve. I have beliefs that are about poverty and struggle. So look at that. Heal the poverty consciousness within you first. Heal the struggle. Perhaps it comes from your own parents. Maybe you watch them struggle with money. Heal your struggles. Heal your beliefs that about money first. And then you'll be able to create and manifest the things that you desire.
It would be nice for it to be as simple as wishing for a Ferrari and one dropping out of the sky. But
everybody would be driving Ferraris, but it's not the be all and end all of life to own a Ferrari.
No, of course not.
It's great if that's what. But heal yourself. Heal first the poverty vibration and frequency and blockages within you, and then you can create and live a more harmonious and abundant life.
So essentially it's keep it real. Like, don't you're like, well, or not. Like, you can choose not to. You can choose to, live life however you want. But I guess our personal stance and our personal, the way we live our lives is we don't try and shy away from the uncomfortable truths, because there's no opportunity to grow or to make any meaningful change if you don't. There's just not. If you stick your head in the sand, and look, sticking your head in the sand is great, pretending that everything's...
You're just going to have to come back and do this again and again and again.
And do you really want to?
Do you really want to? When we can evolve into a higher consciousness and help everyone on the planet to move into a higher consciousness and then move into higher dimensions and realities.
Yeah. So... that's it. It's just a choice. It's a choice to get your head out of that sand and to do the work and to face the uncomfortable truths or not. But I guess we've made it pretty clear that we're not into that.
Not in I'm so sorry, but no, actually I'm not sorry. I'm so glad that I'm not. I'm so glad that I didn't fall into that. I don't even know what to call it. It's a trap. That's what I want to call it. I'm so glad I didn't fall into the New Age trap, and that I did look at things I didn't want to see about myself and everything else that came with it. But I feel like that empowered me than falling. If I was a New Agey trap, but falling in that trap, I couldn't ever have grown and evolved.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, the unfortunate thing about the New Age stuff that's fluffy is that it can kind of it can devalue people like Katarina who can actually do the work, because it's very easy to lump anyone who works in the spiritual field or some people who work as psychic mediums together. Like a lot of people just see it as one field and it's all, without realising there's a lot of different individuals make it up, and they are all at different levels, and some are legit and some aren't, and some are deluded and some are not. But, the unfortunate thing is a lot of people lump it all together. So when there is, New Age BS, unfortunately people like Katerina suffer because of it, because it devalues what she actually does. Anyway, that's me sticking up for Katerina.
Thank you. No, it hasn't bothered me. I've always had amazing clients and beautiful people that I've always been able to, it's been very joyful to work with. But yeah, basically what we're asking everyone to do is heal their hearts and become your own guru. You're already a guru. You don't need to follow some new ager who's telling you that everything's love, light, and that's all there is to it. You're your own guru. You're the master of your life, and it's up to you energetically and where you want to take your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being awakened and being fully conscious
Well,
and aligned with the higher consciousness is what you want to become.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if you're interested in more doses of truth, you can hit us up at our Patreon account, which is patreon.com, The Australian Ghost Whisperer. You won't get any fluff there. I can guarantee.
I've never done fluff.
Yeah, but look, thank you for listening this week, and
lots of love.
And lots of love. Yeah, and again, we say these things with
to
the
help
hope,
you.
Yeah, to lift
We're
people up.
not saying it to like I said, we could sit here and tell you what you want to hear, and we'd have probably loads more people wanting to hear the podcast, but. Yeah,
but it's fine. We'd
rather be truthful.
Exactly. And we're sure you guys appreciate that. Okay, so we will see you again. Thank you for listening, and big love to all.
Big love and hug to you. Have an awesome day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
To gain access to private spiritual development classes, guided meditations, and live Q&As with Katerina, please visit www.patreon, that's patreon.com/The Australian Ghost Whisperer.